Next up, he's been found on Constantine playing Manny, Mr. Harold Perrineau. She's the new cast member on the show. She plays Zed, Angelica Zelaya. And finally, he plays Chaz, Charles Halford. Thanks, guys, for coming. So Daniel and David, talk a little bit about some of the creative changes that you've made to the pilot. We saw this is, I think, the world premiere of the brand new version of the pilot. What did you guys change at the end?
Basically, I mean, one of the good things about the pilot process is you get a chance to improve after you've shot it. And originally, in the pilot, we had a character named Liv, which is a character that wasn't in the comic books that we created. And as Daniel said, she was very reactive and wide-eyed, and we felt like she couldn't really go toe-to-toe with John. And so we sat around and we started talking about the Zed character from the comic books. He's got a really interesting backstory, and we said, why didn't we just put Zed in the first time? And
you know, another thing that you guys saw that's sort of a first, I don't think anybody's seen it yet. I know the pilot leaked online, and there was a different sort of demon on the rooftop that was battling John. And, you know, what happened is, it was saying, like, we really wanted to present a certain reality to the show. We wanted it to be a grounded reality that was scary. And we ended up really driven into kind of the CGI world with the team that was on the rooftop. And we thought, you know, it was David and I really, nobody was pushing us saying reshoot that sequence. People liked it, but David and I were like, you know what? We just want this to be as compelling and real feeling as possible. So we thought, what better way, you know, for John Constantine than to face a demon version of himself, who would sort of, you know, hold his own sins up against him. So that was fun for Matt to go in and surgically shoot, you know, that one piece of the rooftop, right? You had to go back to the demon.
Really interesting. I mean, it was really fun to play the demon John first of all, and then to kind of play it against myself when I wasn't actually there was a whole other experience as well, and that was good fun.
but I mean, come on, the guy is John Constantine. Right? We saw hundreds of people, and then Matt walked in, and we were like, dude.
But here's the amazing thing about it. You have to understand, when we saw him, he was on stage with Jude Law and Henry V. And we get this, we literally read and met with hundreds of people, and we get this self-tape in, where like
long hair and
his hair
big beard and
down to his back, it's slicked back, and he had a beard that was like this.
Sasquatch.
And I don't mean to spoil, but it was dark hair too, but he just, you know, he just captured it. He had it in the eyes.
And he's British.
I know. That was it.
Sounds like you're going back to the origins.
Going old school.
We're going to do a lot of frothy romantic comedy.
It's a four-camera sitcom.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, musical theater. Look, there were over 300 issues, of Hellblazer, and I think there's, I don't know, 16 issues of Constantine with the new 52, so we're going to be dipping into the Delano stuff, and the Azzarello stuff, and the Ennis stuff. I mean, we're not idiots. I mean, the best writers in the business have been writing Constantine for the last 25 years, and we're going to use that as our source material.
When Constantine stepped into the Swamp Thing universe, you know, it was shortly after the Newcastle incident for any fans of Hellblazer, and that's the point that we're meeting him. I mean, as you've seen from the pilot, we use that for heavy inspiration, and by the end of the first season, we're going to introduce all of the Newcastle crew and reconstitute them toward the end of the season in our climax. But it's all directly from the earliest pages of Swamp Thing, and then Hellblazer. All this stuff.
Pop at Midnight.
And it's all ahead. All the things that happen to Constantine, it's all ahead of him. So we have a chance to dramatize and visualize all of it, and just, you know, not only for the fans, but for people who haven't met the character, they can meet him and witness all those events.
Anyone else you can talk about showing up later in the season? Zatanna, for example, or any other character?
We have access to the sort of occult corner of the DC universe. So you'll be seeing some other characters filtering in. We've got probably our first guy in episode 5 or 6, and a few others. We just want to make sure that it's not guest star of the week, that they're recurring characters and somebody that works in organically. But I'm sure many of you you saw the Dr. Fate helmet, you know, that was sort of a clear indication of our intentions.
All right.